Okay, so hello. um, I would like to share this analogy that we are very familiar with here at the Abbey. Um, this is the analogy of the rarity of our precious human life. And I think it's an analogy that the Buddha himself taught. But it's the turtle analogy, basically. So when I first heard this analogy, a number of times I really enjoyed this analogy. It just really did capture the essence of the rarity of this life. But then a number of times later, it got to be kind of monotonous and kind of trite when I heard it from some people. And I don't know, I thought it was a good analogy, so I wanted to expand on it. So I've been reading this book, surprise, surprise, by Lama Zopa. And the book is called Perfect Human Rebirth. And in this book, he kind of talks about the rarity of precious human life, and he goes into the turtle analogy in extensive detail. And so I think most of us are familiar with this analogy. It's the turtle who comes up from the bottom of the ocean, and he's blind, like super, super blind, and he only comes up from the bottom of the ocean every 100 years. And he happens to surface on the top of the ocean through this golden ring. And this is what Lama Zopa has to say about this blind turtle surfacing. He says, "The blind turtle surfaces in a different place every 100 years, and the ring is never in the same place. The ocean is vast, and there are infinite number of places that the turtle can surface. Being blind, it has no way of seeing what is on the surface, even if it were looking for the ring. And the ring could be anywhere on that vast ocean. Even if the turtle surfaces every day, let alone once every 100 years, its chances of coming up near the ring are very remote. And its chances of putting its head in the ring are remoter still." So he kind of explains in this book that, like the ring kind of moving along the ocean due to the wind and the tides, that's basically like how the Dharma exists in our world and in every world. It shifts constantly. Where it was before, it's not there again. And I think we've seen this in our world where, in India, the Buddha Dharma was flourishing for a long time, thousands of years ago. But now it seems like Hinduism is kind of flourishing in its place. And where in the US, for example, Buddhism did not exist, and now Buddhism does exist, and it kind of flourishes in the US. So yeah, we can see how the ring kind of shifts different places. Not only that, but the Dharma kind of pops up in different places at different times, in different realms, different places of rebirth, making it, all the more rare to surface somewhere. And the bottom of the ocean that these turtles kind of surface from, the bottom of the ocean represents the lower realms. And how it's so easy to be reborn in the lower realms and to stick around in the lower realms for eons and eons. It's like this vicious cycle where you're born in non-virtue, you create more non-virtue, you're surrounded by non-virtue, and you just keep on doing it. So yeah, that's where that part comes in, where it takes so long for the turtle just to reach the surface, to get a breath of fresh air where he can just, have an upper rebirth. And this is a part of the analogy I wasn't aware of, that's what that represented. So, yes, let's see. And also, sometimes the turtle will surface once every 100 years only to find itself next to the golden ring. which is like a huge bummer. I mean, like, oh, so much work, and oh man, you just missed it. Like you missed the mark. But yeah, that happens a lot. So, and that's like a lot of human beings. I mean, I know people in my own life who they, they're surrounded by sincere Buddhist practitioners, hardcore Dharma practitioners, and yeah, they have no interest in the Dharma, like at all. There's just no spark. It's like they're a turtle who's like, who surfaced up near that ring, and they're just not getting in it, And I know people who are like on the edge of the ring. They're like kind of interested in the teachings, but kind of not. So they're on that edge. There are also people I know who have had a precious human life. Their head was in the ring, and they moved out of the ring, and they're drifting away from the ring, like, yeah. And there's also people who they're turtles who stick their head in the ring, and then they take their head out of the ring, and they stick their head back in, and then they stick their head back out. And they do that for like a whole lifetime. So, I mean, I think, any contact with the ring provides some benefit at least, but it would still be better if the head was in the ring. Something I was thinking about too was how if like a turtle does get its head in that beautiful golden ring of the Dharma, they realize that they start to see more clearly the longer their head is in the ring. They're becoming less blind, and maybe they'll start to see the other turtles around them who are just kind of aimlessly wandering, being blind in the sea, and they'll think, oh my God, those are my friends, like those are my turtle friends, that's my turtle family, and wow, they can't see anything. And this turtle who can now see, sometimes they might say to themselves, well, what would it be like if I stuck my head back out of the ring? And maybe they become more blind. So then they go back in the ring and they say, okay, this ring is great. I'm never separating from this ring again. Like I'm gonna make a vow never to be separated from this ring. Even if the ring drifts along the ocean and it moves away from my friends and family, I am going to stick with this ring. So yeah, there are people like that, monastics and lay practitioners who, dedicate their lives to this. So, oh yeah, and I forgot to mention, I think I forgot to mention this, like the ocean, that the turtle swims in represents the vastness of samsara and, the vastness of where that turtle could be reborn. So it's just so rare to be around this ring. And yeah, so we're so fortunate that, we're in the ring. And hopefully, that works out. So let's just do our best to use this precious human life to our ability. And if we have the will and the conditions, never to be separated from it. And let's practice the Dharma.